First of all, any state that tells its subordinates, its officials, what have you, that they cannot conceive my point in regards to who is ideal, how people should date, what have you, is a rape by deception state. So it's more than just the female who's to blame. She says, "What do I do?" And she looks to her father. That's not necessarily her father, just a guy whose picture fit my purposes at the time. So I put him there. Okay. She looks to her friends and her family, and she was raised a certain way to believe certain things. We look at the Erik Erikson's development theory and psychology, what have you. Okay. We look at the studies. It strongly basically proves that, you know, our identity is largely based on our childhood years, our adolescent years, what have you. Okay. Proverbs 23:15. My son, if your heart is wise, then my heart will be glad indeed. In my my inmost being will rejoice when your lips speak what is right. Again, my son, if your heart is wise, then my heart will be glad indeed. My inmost being will rejoice when your lips speak what is right. Okay, so if you have a child, right, would you rather have a child that lives a long life as a corporate female, okay, sleeping with her boss, being stupid, or somebody who masterfully moves through life, okay, and gets persecuted for what is right on a planet where if you do what is precisely right, you will be persecuted and screened out? We all die anyway. Quality over quantity, what have you. Again, my son, if your heart is wise, then my heart will be glad indeed. My inmost being will rejoice when your lips speak what is right. Proverbs 23:13, just a few verses before that. Do not withhold discipline from a child. If you punish them with a rod, they will not die. Punish them with the rod and save them from death. Okay, be harsh to them. Spank them if you have to. Whip them if you have to. Save them from walking the paths of evil. All right, here we go. Proverbs 26:28. A lying tongue hates those it hurts, and a flattering mouth works ruin. So if I lie to you and encourage you to do the things that you're doing, the cultures that you're doing, okay, then I hate you. Everyone else, by encouraging you to do what you're doing and not telling you as seriously as they can to obey God through me, hates you. Let's see it again in case you don't understand it. Proverbs 26:28. A lying tongue hates those it hurts, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Proverbs 27:5. Better is open rebuke than hidden love. Proverbs 28:23. Whoever rebukes a person will in the end gain favor rather than the one who has a flattering tongue. Whoever robs their father or mother and says it's not wrong is brother to one who destroys. Whoever robs me out of my right to lead, as I am God's son, so as robbing me is robbing God. He who robs the son robs the father. Okay? And by their actions doesn't repent. Therefore, their actions declare it's not wrong. Is brother to the devil, is brother to one who destroys. All right. Proverbs 13:24. Whoever spares the rod hates their children, but the one who loves their children is careful to discipline them. Okay? So are these females, do they come out like this because their parents did a good job and their friends did a good job and society did a good job in their communities and their teachers? No. Their teachers reinforce the social norms of these politicians and the people pulling their strings. Pretty straightforward, right? Proverbs 23:4. A father of a righteous child has great joy. A man who fathers a wise son rejoices in him. Okay, so what is doing them a favor? Is telling them to obey God through me and to join me in the greatest martial arts spirit and human spirit that ever lived, the spirit mixed with the spirit of God. Purified, purged, purified by the spirit of God. Or should you just be like a priest who's like this politician and Billy Graham and Joel Osteen and all the priests that are allowed in those churches who aren't persecuted because they're not morally precise. They just do the corporate state's bidding. So how do they come out if they're raised wrong? Proverbs 23:27. For an adulterous woman is a deep pit, and a wayward wife is a narrow well. Like a bandit, she lies in wait and multiplies the unfaithful among men. Okay, so they start dating people who are also stupid. Before you know it, you see these sex worker types everywhere. You see these corporate new age types everywhere. You see immature people everywhere. Females who might seem less slutty than they are, but you can tell there's something wrong with their brain function. Just by looking at them, you can tell they don't have the heart to be righteous and moral and just and mature and disciplined. They may as well all be sticking out their tongues all day long, making weird faces because they're immature and evil. All right. And I'm using those pictures as an example, not necessarily those people, okay? For the sake of this video, I'll say that. All right. Proverbs 12:4. A wife of noble character is her husband's crown, but a disgraceful wife is like decay in his bones. Okay? Now, if you can handle it, let's talk briefly about the Garden of Eden, okay? And the snake, who was actually the idea of people in a serpent spirit. We see in Rome, they talk about the genius as a winged serpent. We see Apep in in Egyptian mythology. We see various serpent demons in various mythologies. We see Tiamat and the Sumerian serpents and so on and so forth. All right, where are we here? Okay, Proverbs 11:23. Like a gold ring in a pig's snout is a beautiful woman who shows no discretion. Another version, sense. Okay, so like a gold ring in a pig's snout. Now let's connect it to other proverbs and see what they're getting at. Even more than that. As opposed to Proverbs 25:11. Like apples of gold in settings of silver is a ruling rightly given. See, this is one of the ways I know that Jesus coming back on the cloud is not literal, so on and so forth, because the Bible connects things. Wind is connected to other descriptions of wind, water, wine, bread, you name it. Okay? So, we can see that when a ruling is rightly given, it is like rings of gold, okay, in settings of silver. Okay, apples of gold, rather, in settings of silver. Okay, now think Satan's apple in a snake's mouth or a dumb, foolish, childish female's mouth or hand. So the judgment to go down the path of the serpent and to live its fruit, to be its fruit, to eat its fruit, to become one with its fruit, okay, was a bad judgment. So Eve was a beautiful woman who lacked sense. So she was a gold ring in a pig's snout. Her inner character, who she really is, was a pig. Okay, now, I'm not trying to insult the police in this one, but this has to be said for everyone's good, including them and their families. Okay, there's a reason why a pig is called a pig, because he works for the state, and if no servant could be greater, and they serve corruption, so they're corrupt and they're evil. Okay, so if they listen to the cop, who's a good point of reference for extreme conformity, fanatic conformity, okay, they become like the cop. They become corrupt and evil, a pig. So a gold ring and a pig's snout, females who conform and take on a path, a corporate path, which is similar to a police path. They work for the corporate state, and they let them tell them how to behave and who to date and so on and so forth, subtly and otherwise, in a roundabout way and otherwise, okay, are like a gold ring. An attractive female who does that is like a gold ring in a pig's snout. But a pig that's on the rampage. Okay, like an earring of gold or an ornament of fine gold is the rebuke of a wise judge to a listening ear. What I've just done is I've rebuked them. Okay? So it is like an earring, how do they put this here? Like an earring of gold or an ornament of fine gold. Okay? So gold on gold. Gold on platinum. Gold on that which is sacred. Okay? Treasures in heaven. Spiritual treasures. Righteous acts and deeds. My rebuke was the righteous act of a righteous man who meant it from his heart. And that puts me way above corporate people and politicians. Why should women listen to this guy? Okay? And this guy? Okay? And this guy? And these guys, regardless of race? Okay? Why should they start acting like that chick over there and be upholding eugenics? Okay? Hereditary sexual inclinations of Satanists? Why should they play this stupid new age game where they see themselves as some decent girl dating a demon? Okay, does that demon, those females resemble these females? You betcha. Okay, that female who's a fake angel, who's a Luciferian angel, is like the spoiled brat and this unfocused female, so on and so forth. Okay, pretty straightforward. 13. Like a snow-cooled drink at harvest time is a trustworthy messenger to the one who sends him. He refreshes the spirit of his master. Like clouds and wind without rain is one who boasts of gifts never given. Okay? So whose hand has gathered up the wind and whose reign, right? It's not a coincidence, it's a play on words for reign, a king's reign. Okay? So the gifts will be given to those who obey God through me. So my hand gathers up the winds, and the water, the living water of God, is showered on those who do the righteous, who obey God through me and are righteous and just. Okay, walk the straight and narrow. Narrow is the way to life. I walk in the way of righteousness along the paths of justice. And we see in Proverbs 12, 28, in the way of righteousness there is life. Along that path is immortality, being righteous. Okay? So if you don't have the sound judgment to be righteous and instead conform, you are like, and you're an attractive female, for example, you're like a gold ring in a pig's snout. Okay? We see in Satanism, the pig is often depicted in a satanic manner. Okay? You see that chick right there who resembles these other females, okay, is dressed like a Satanist, whether it's a Hollywood costume or not. Okay? You can understand and fill in the blanks there. And so are these females. She's wearing that red shirt that is similar to her, and she's a sex worker, and she often wears things like those things, okay, on her job, I'd imagine. Okay? You see the gang member who was chosen to be wicked and not righteous. How it's the cartoon depiction of that person. Okay, animus, meaning spirit, animation, and I mate. Okay, does that chick prefer the righteous hero? No. Do they? No. Do they listen to me about not being sex workers? No. Does the corporate chick listen to me? Do these corporate chicks, okay? Does the spoiled rich brat? Does the 20-year-old clueless chick with who's attractive in various ways? Does the hippie? No. All these people are better off admitting that I am the master at life and at the point of life, and that living like me is far superior to their despicable lifestyles. The females feel the need to even dress up like martial artists to pretend that they're transcendent and empowered. Okay? Pretty straightforward. Angels work martial art angles. Martial is marital scrambled. And Christ is the bridegroom. I am the top martial artist. Martial is marital scrambled. Martial spelled differently with the same kind of sound, okay, is to order or to arrange. Okay? I am supposed to be the head of the church, and priests marry people. So who should they listen to about life matters, especially dating matters? Should they listen to the politicians? Should they listen to the occultists who run so much things these days? Should they listen to the psychologists who ride the state goat? Who should they listen to? Thank you.